Hi, good evening to all of you. So, welcome for the second session on environment ecology. And if you can recollect, if you can recapitulate, we initiated the discussion on global environmental summits or conferences or reports. And in this regard, we completed the discussion on United Nations Conference on Human Environment, which was held in 1972 at Stockholm, and it is famous in the name of a Stockholm Conference. And you all should not get confused between a Stockholm Conference and a Stockholm Convention. The Stockholm Convention is different. We will talk about that later. But right now we completed the discussion on Stockholm. Okay, we completed the discussion on Stockholm. We have already completed the discussion on Stockholm Conference, and I told you that because of this Stockholm Conference or this United Nations Conference on Human Environment, World Environment Day decision was later taken by the United Nations General Assembly that each year 5th of June will be observed as World Environment Day. I also talked about the establishment of UNEP. I also said the two broad principles, right, with which this conference concluded, and this was for the first time that world as a whole, could reach to this consensus that if we have to fight, environmental issues, collaboration will be required, coordination will be required. So we completed the discussion on, we completed the discussion on UN Conference on Human Environment in 1972. After this, many regional level and global level conferences were held. We will not go into the details of all, but we will pick important ones for discussion. And the one which you must remember is the World Commission on Environment and Development. World Commission on Environment and Development. Okay, World Commission on Environment and Development. Okay, World Commission on Environment and Development, WCED. Okay, WCED. And this commission published a report in 1987. Okay, this commission published a report in 1987. And I would just like you all to have this awareness that by the beginning of this decade, 1980s, there was a growing consensus among the leaders from different countries of the world that there must be harmonious relation between environment and development. Okay, so in the mad race for development, we cannot continue causing irreparable damage to environment. But even there was a consensus reached that simply in the name of protection or conservation of environment, we cannot bring to halt the ongoing developmental project. So there should be a harmonious relation. So World Commission on Environment and Development submitted its report in 1987. Actually, this Commission on Environment and Development was constituted by General Assembly of United Nations. General Assembly of United Nations, UN General Assembly, passed a resolution in 1983. And this led to the constitution of this World Commission on Environment and Development. And this commission, according to the term of reference, based on 4-year study. So it was constituted in 83 and based on 4 years, okay, of study on environment and developmental issues, submitted a fantastic report, a wonderful report, a very comprehensive report, a great report. And those who have geography optional, they must have studied about this commission in detail, and this report in particular in detail. And the title of the report itself is so impressive. Okay, you know, it published the report, right? It published the report which was given the title Our Common Future. Our Common Future. Very deep meaning of the title itself. Just by looking into the title, a person with common sense can make out that what would have been highlighted in this report, our common future. Basically, the members of this commission, through their study, attempted telling the world leaders and the people from different countries of the world that you cannot restrict environmental problems, you cannot restrict ecological challenges within the geographical boundaries of countries. Okay, so on environmental matter, the planet has common future. Okay, a country can have different economic future, can have different geopolitical future, but when it comes to environmental issues, a whole planet has common future. An environmental problem may start in one part of planet, but will ultimately impact and affect the whole world or the whole planet. We cannot restrict environmental problems within geographical boundary. Okay, and I hope you all know very well, there is a age-old saying, the best way to unite people is to show them the common enemy. So this report, right, this report was very much successful in creating this awareness that no matter what political future a country may have, economic future country may have, geopolitical future country may have, but when it comes to environmental issues, the countries of the world have common future. Okay, the geographical, the environmental problem cannot be restricted within geographical boundaries. Okay, political boundaries cannot confine the problem. The problem may start from one place, but ultimately will impact the whole planet. Have you understood, all of you? Right? Have you understood, all of you? Our common future. Okay, our common future. The title of this report, a fantastic report. A great study was done by World Commission on Environment and Development. And this commission, right, this commission, the report which is submitted is titled as, you know, Our Common Future. Many a times it is known as Brundtland Report. Brundtland Report. This commission was also known as Brundtland Commission. You know why it was known as Brundtland Commission? Because it was headed by then Norwegian Prime Minister Harlem Brundtland, a great leader, right? A great leader. Okay, so a great leader, Brundtland. Okay, Harlem Brundtland, Norwegian Prime Minister at that time, Norwegian Prime Minister. Kanika is asking, greetings sir, sorry to disturb you out of context, but very crucial for me. So kindly tell me till which month we will be able to access online classes. No, we will be deleting the classes. Our server has got loaded with too much material. Okay, now had the prelims been in the month of June, by now we would have deleted, but keeping in mind the delay in the prelims, right? First we will complete the course and thereafter we will delete the content. So all of you are requested. Okay, this is the what I feel, that there is a saying in Hindi, विकल्प संकल्प को कमजोर करता है. Alternative will dilute and dissolve the commitment. So since online class has given you the option that you can watch it later, so you are finding it difficult to watch even when the content is available for you for so many days. Okay, so if we don't create that urgency, many of you will not even watch the missed classes. So all of you should watch the missed classes with immediate effect. Very soon we are going, because our technical team is asking again and again that too much content is there in every batch and we need to free the space. That is something which is very much required. Okay, so this is what I would like to say. Please concentrate on, otherwise you will feel the need for attending this again later on. Okay, you should complete whatever is being discussed in class in such a way that you don't feel the need to watch it again, just by revising your notes which you are making. And I hope even while you are attending class online, you are making notes, you are sitting in alert and attentive position. This is again another challenge with online class, that some students will lie down in the bed to attend classes, so your concentration level will be less. You should sit at the study table, you should sit in front of your laptop or desktop or maybe your smartphone. Okay, and you should sit with your notebook and you should attend class. And while attending the class, right, while attending the class, you should jot down the key points. And if you are missing class because of internet issues, I understand that digital infrastructure in India is not that robust and strong. Okay, so this is the reason why we have created the option that you can watch the content later as well. Okay, anyway, so this World Commission, right, on Environment and Development, which was constituted through a resolution of United Nations General Assembly in 1983, this commission was headed by Norwegian Prime Minister Harlem Brundtland, and because of which it was termed as Brundtland Commission. And the report which was submitted by this commission 4 years later, that many a times is referred as Brundtland Report, but the title of the report was Our Common Future, and the title was given with deep meaning, that planet as a whole has a common future on environmental issues. And based on this commission report, I would say that this report actually led to development of the theme of sustainable development. Led to development of the theme of sustainable development. Okay, so this Brundtland Commission report, Our Common Future, actually created the platform for the development of the theme of sustainable development. So gradually, I told you, people after this commission report were very much convinced that there must be harmonious relation between environment and development. For development, we cannot ignore environment, and to cater the environmental needs, we cannot be ignorant towards the developmental needs. Okay, so that is right. And when we are talking about environment and development, automatically what is coming, right, what is coming to the forefront, that we have to cater the need of not only present generation but future generation. So the theme which gained, right, on the basis of Brundtland Commission report, the theme of sustainable development which gained prominence was this. So what is sustainable development. Okay, so the theme which gained prominence okay. This is sustainable development. Okay, this is sustainable development, and development can be defined in many ways. Okay, but basically development is what? Utilization of resources. Okay, what is development? First try to understand. If you are able to utilize the resources, to cater needs of people, this is development. This can be the geographical definition of development. Okay, if we are able to utilize the resources, and by utilizing the resources, if we are able to cater the needs of people, this is what is development. Okay, this is what is development. But when this development will transform into sustainable development, translate into sustainable development, overutilization of resources is exploitation. Okay, overutilization of resources is exploitation. Underutilization of resources is underdevelopment. So within the theme or the concept of sustainable development, optimum utilization of resources. Okay, optimum utilization of resources. Jitin is talking about some problem with class. Okay, you need to call our technical team. Okay, so I hope that we have sent a message about the help desk number. The moment you face any problem, okay, technical glitch while attending the session, you can call the technical team. There are three regions. Okay, one is internet speed of yours. Okay, internet speed of yours. Okay, second is sometime you have to delete the app and you have to download the app again. Okay, and third is sometimes there can be issue from our side, but if there is issue from our side, then everybody will face the same problem. But right now 300-400 people from different batches who are attending the session, and 3-4 batches are attending the session. If they are not facing the problem, it means that there is problem locally with you, and this is why we have just given the number. Immediately you should call. If you will send it on my message, we will not be in a position, okay, to support you. So just try to call the help desk number. Technical team will definitely support you. Coming back, optimum utilization of resources to cater the need of people. Now within the concept of sustainable development, we are not only talking about present generation, present generation, but even we are talking about future generation. Future generation. And we know that the needs of future generation will be different, and this is the reason why we need to preserve the resources for them. Whatever may not be problem, with whatever may not be of use for us today may be of great use for future generation tomorrow. So this is how we need to preserve the resources. So we will be talking about that. I hope you know, when you go in a dense forest, many tree and plants about which if we don't have awareness may appear to us as a tree or plant, but later on with research we may find that the root node of that plant or the leaf of that plant or other parts of that plant has great medicinal use. Okay, so until and unless we preserve them, how can you protect the interest of future generations? So whenever we talk of sustainable development, one is optimum utilization of resources to cater needs of people, where not only present generation but future generation, and while doing so, right, there must be concern for environmental concern. Okay, so ill impact on environment is less, minimum, no ill impact is there. That is what should always be the concern while we are utilizing the resources to cater the need of present and future generation. Then that development will translate into sustainable development. So two things you should remember, two things. Sustainable development as a model is based on intergenerational harmony. So present generation is talking about protecting the interest of future generation. So sustainable development as a model, right? Sustainable development as a model, one key facet of this model is intergenerational harmony. Intergenerational harmony, meaning this generation is worried about the protecting interests of next generation. And sustainable development as a model, interspecies harmony. Interspecies harmony. Okay, interspecies harmony. So human being should not be, right? Human beings should not be only worried about their needs, but we should at the same time be equally concerned about needs of all other species. Okay, we have, how we are different from other species. We have the ability to think. Okay, so with greater power comes the greater responsibility. So to preserve, right, to preserve the environment, to protect the environment. Okay, this is, I hope you all, many a times when people ask me that are you a big fan of Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, I always say yes, because particularly when I see father of nation Mahatma Gandhi, in every respect, if you see, Gandhiji, you will find him at the top. For me, Gandhiji was a great environmentalist. He was a saint. He was a philosopher. He was a thinker. He was an author. He was a spiritual leader. He was a social scientist. He was a lawyer, legal luminary, expert on law matters. Why I am saying that he was a great environmentalist? Very powerfully he said, Mother Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. How deep is the meaning of this sentence? When our father of nation said this for the world and established beyond reasonable doubt that he was a great environmentalist and a great visionary and a person who was having great faith in theme of sustainable development. He said, Mother Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. So, Mother Earth is providing. Even for 8 billion children, whatever may be their needs. But the biggest problem is that we are not contented with need. We are so greedy. Okay, so what I am just interested in telling you, that sustainable development as a model is based on intergenerational harmony and interspecies harmony. When I say intergenerational harmony, means this generation is worried about the interest of next generation. Because within the theme of sustainable development, what we are seeing, why we should go for optimum utilization of resources, because we should not only be able to cater the need of present generation but even future generation. Okay, if you ask me, what is sustainable development for me? If we start treating planet Earth or Mother Earth as a place where we are, going to stay forever, do I need to tell you the attitudinal behavior of individual? When why is it so that when you go to stay in a hotel, your approach towards resources of hotel is different, but when you are in the home, your resources your approach is different, because you have this awareness. Okay, let me just put it like this. I have given this example earlier, again I am giving you this example. Tell me, many in India, this you will not find in other countries of the world except few tropical countries. Let us say, you must have seen many men urinating in public place by the side of the road. So road के किनारे खड़ा होकर के सुसु कर देता है. And many a times this is done by whom? Those who are educated, जो पढ़ा लिखा है, 10th पास है, 12th पास किया है, ग्रेजुएट है. Okay, now you tell me, if they are asked, why you have done this, immediately they will say that बहुत जोर से लगा था, बहुत urgency था. Okay, now let me tell you, same person, if he is inside the home, घर के अंदर है, and if the toilet is occupied for 2 hours, 2 घंटे toilet occupied है, and even then, he feel like urinating, what he will do? He will control. घर में क्या करेगा? ऐसा तो नहीं है घर में कि वॉशरूम अगर या टॉयलेट ऑक्युपाइड है तो बेडरूम में या किचन में जाकर के टॉयलेट करेगा. Why? अप्रोच क्या है? He knows that इसी घर में मुझे रहना है. But when the same person is at public place, what he feels? Right? I am at this place for a while. I can afford urinating. Okay, urinating. So if you ask me what is sustainable development, today, what happens with us, that we are taking birth, we are on this planet Earth for 60-65 years, हमारे लाइफ में कोई प्रॉब्लम ना हो, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन अपना समझेगा. This approach is not sustainable. When you start thinking about how the future generation is going to cater their needs, if you start preserving resources for future generation, automatically in developmental model, what will come? Concern for environment will come. So sustainable development as a model is what? Based on intergenerational harmony and interspecies harmony. And what is sustainable development? with sustainable development as a model talks about optimum utilization of natural resources to cater the need of present and future generation with deep concern for environment, right? With deep concern for environment. So this theme, right? This theme of sustainable development, gained prominence, okay, gained prominence or developed, right? Developed because of this Bertland report, Our Common Future. And one thing I would like you to remember, the biggest threat to the concept of sustainable development is what? Two P's. Two P's threat is there. What is the two P? Ever growing human population, and directly, indirectly, they are causing different type of pollution: air pollution, water pollution, land degradation, deforestation, fast depletion of biodiversity, right? All these are the end result of what? With growing population, needs of present generation is growing, and when needs are growing, and when there is greed, that need is crossing that Lakshman Rekha to become greed, and with money and muscle and technology power, when you want to satisfy the greed, then it results in different kind of pollution. So sustainable development as a concept or theme is having threat from what? It's having threat from this concept. Okay, two P's threat. One is ever growing human population, with which their needs are growing, and day by day there is widening of amplitude of the greed of humanity. Okay, and that is what is responsible for different kind of pollution. So I told you, air pollution, water pollution, land degradation, noise pollution, ocean water pollution, सब pollute हो रहा है. Fast depleting biodiversity, climate change, global warming, क्या क्या नहीं हो रहा है, you just think. So this is what is the threat to the very theme of sustainable development. But this Bertland Commission report led to development of the theme of sustainable development. Okay, and why it was known as Bertland Commission? It was known as Bertland Commission because, right, because it was headed by then Norwegian Prime Minister Harlem Bertland. Okay, Harlem Bertland. And I hope you must have heard that famous think globally, act locally. Okay, so Bertland was able to induce an awareness that on environmental matters, since the title of this report was what? Our Common Future. So on environmental matter, our thoughts must be global, but action should be local. So locally we have to take affirmative action, positive step, corrective step, but in our thoughts we should be global orientation. Okay, so that is what World Commission on Environment and Development. And a year later, was the establishment of IPCC. Have you heard of this? IPCC. Okay, by the even before the last decade of 20th century, humanity started realizing that one of the biggest environmental problem which they are facing and which will intensify in days to come will be climate change. Okay, will be climate change. So for this purpose, a special body was created, IPCC. Okay, so what is IPCC? Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. IPCC is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And perhaps climate change is the biggest environmental challenge or the threat which we all are facing today on planet Earth. But we were able to sense this threat, we were able to sense this challenge way back, towards the end of 1980s, right? Towards the end of 1980s. Now, what do you mean by climate change? In geography, you all must have studied about climate change, and we will also study about climate change in greater detail when we will discuss about global warming, climate change. We will also be talking about UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and the ongoing Conference of Parties. We will be talking about Paris Climate Agreement. This year, we are looking forward to the talks which will be at Glasgow in United Kingdom. Okay, all those things we will be talking. Okay, but in simplest term, what is climate change? So climate change is one of the environmental threat which we are facing on planet Earth today. And what should immediately come in your mind with climate change? Okay, what should immediately come in your mind with climate change? Summers are becoming hotter, winters are becoming cooler. Okay, summer in different part of the world, right, are becoming hotter. Winters are becoming cooler. Erratic nature of rainfall. Okay, so places are, places which were not receiving that great quantity of rainfall earlier, they have started getting, sudden heavy rainfall. Okay, late arrival of monsoon, erratic nature of monsoon. Okay, just see the irony. Today, if you see, when we are discussing Delhi and surrounding area in northwestern part of India, extreme hot weather conditions. And if you see the eastern part of India, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, too much rainfall. Okay, which is a surprise to many climatologists. So erratic nature of rainfall is one of the facets of climate change. But the most disturbing facet is shift in season. अभी नहीं होता था. If you go by बिहार स्टैंडर्ड, बिहार के स्टैंडर्ड में या झारखंड के स्टैंडर्ड में या ईस्टर्न उत्तर प्रदेश के स्टैंडर्ड में 25 years before, heavy rainfall during monsoon will be in the month of August. But in the month of May itself, this year, the region has experienced such a heavy rainfall. So, towards the end of 1980s, we were able to sense and realize that climate change is the biggest environmental challenge which humanity is facing. Okay, and even Birkeland Commission report was able to bring this challenge in the forefront. So in 1988, this panel was established. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And this Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change was established, with merger of certain wings of two already existing organizations. Okay, so WMO, World Meteorological Organization, and United Nations Environment Program, UNEP. These two organizations, decided to join hands and create a panel, okay, by earmarking experts from the organization and sending them on deputation, to this. So IPCC was established, right? IPCC was established in 1988 as the end result of WMO, World Meteorological Organization, joining hands with United Nations Environment Program, okay, with which this panel was established. And let me just tell you, the panel was asked to indulge in scientific study of climate change. Indulge in scientific study of climate change. Okay, so this panel was asked to indulge and to carry forward the scientific study of climate change. Okay, let me just tell you that if we see IPCC today, Intergovernmental Panel, and this was later on endorsed by United Nations also. Okay, so this IPCC provides the world's most authoritative authoritative scientific assessment, scientific assessments on climate change. Scientific assessment on climate change. Yes, all of you, are you there with me? All of you? Provides the world most authoritative scientific assessment on climate change. रुका हुआ है क्या? All of you? क्या? Yes, all of you. Are you getting the audio video feed properly? Please tell me quickly. I am eagerly waiting. ये देखता नहीं है. Okay, so it provides for world's most authoritative scientific assessment on climate change. It provides policy makers It provides policy. जा रहे हैं? Okay, so all of you, it provides policy makers. It provides policy makers with regular assessment of regular assessments of scientific basis of climate change, scientific basis of climate change, its impacts, risks, it impacts, ये लगा छेड़ने, it impacts risks, and options for cutting emissions, options for cutting emissions. Okay, options for cutting emissions and adopting or adapting to import, adapting to impacts. Adapting to impacts we can no longer avoid. We can no longer avoid. Yes. So what I was just trying to say, if you see the mandate of this organization, so this organization IPCC, it provides for the world's most authoritative scientific assessment on climate change, and it provides policymakers with regular assessments of scientific basis of climate change, its impact, its risks, okay, its option for cutting emissions, and what we have to adapt to the impacts which we no longer can avoid. This is what is the role which has been assigned to IPCC. Meaning what? In one word, if I have to say about IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, this panel on climate change is doing scientific study on climate change, and the report is most reliable, most authentic. Why? Because the world well-known scientists, environmentalists, climatologists, other experts, they all are participating in the study. Okay, they are participating in the study, and they participating in the study, they are publishing reports, and the report which they provide is actually a feed to policy makers, and those policy makers, when they are formulating policy, okay, they are aware, okay, they are aware that these are the things which is happening related with climate change, and they will include and incorporate, so that we are able to minimize the ill impact, we are able to minimize the risk, Have you understood? Yes or no? Tell me, all of you. All of you, I am waiting for the response. IPCC Intergovernmental. Why it is known as Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change? Because 193 governments which are the member of UN are the part of this panel. Okay, so it's a collaboration of government. This panel has been created when governments of different countries have joined hands, and because of government, all think tank organization on climate change within the country, well-known scientists from the country, they all are participating in this scientific study on climate change. All of you, have you understood? Yes or no? Tell me. So IPCC was established, right? IPCC was established in which year? 1988, when WMO, World Meteorological Organization, and the United Nations Environment Program, they joined hand, and this panel was later endorsed by United Nations. This panel is a panel, of different governments joining hand, and this panel is basically involved in scientific study of climate change. And since all eminent scientists, climatologists, environmentalists, experts are the part of this study, so this is considered world's most authoritative scientific assessment on climate change. Okay, most scientific assessment of climate change. And I would just like you all to remember this. IPCC पे बहुत क्वेश्चन पूछा है यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स में. Okay, I would like you to remember this, that IPCC is publishing ARs, right? So periodic publication or release of reports, and these reports are known as AR. What they are known as? AR, assessment report. What they are known as? Assessment report. Okay, assessment report. Okay, sometimes they are known as synthetic report or assessment report. Okay, so IPCC till now has published 5 reports. IPCC, right, till now has published 5 reports. First report of IPCC was published in the year 1990. Second report of IPCC was published in the year 1995. Third report was published in the year 2001. Fourth report of IPCC was published in the year 2007. Fifth report of IPCC was published in the year 2014, and the sixth report will be published or released in 2022. Okay, 2022. But IPCC will not publish the report, just like this. Intense study, in-depth study. very comprehensive study, very exhaustive study, microscopic details from different parts of the world, from different types of climatic zones, from different types of topography, and then there will be the publication of report. So till now IPCC has published report, and let me bring this to you, right? Final report is known as, right, the assessment reports. Okay, assessment report. Now what is the process of IPCC to publish reports? Okay, what is the process to publish report? So you will find that there will be separate group of scientists which will study 3 different set of things related with climate change. Okay, so if you will find, IPCC will constitute 3 working groups. 3 working groups. Okay, how IPCC will function for publication of the report? This is what I am telling you, the mechanism, the structure, the process. Okay, so 3 working group, and these 3 working group are known as WG1, WG2 and WG3. Working group 1, working group 2 and working group 3. Okay, working group 3. So and in each working group thousands of scientists, thousands of experts, domain experts will be there. Okay, so this WG1, that is working group 1, this basically, right, this basically will study the scientific basis scientific basis of climate change. So this working group 1 of IPCC, working group 1 of IPCC will study, right, will study about the scientific basis of climate change. So it it will just try to find that on what scientific basis we can say that the climate is changing, so that there is always one group of experts who are saying that it's unfortunate that human beings are being blamed for change in climate. Climate is not changing. Okay, so this first group will study and will establish with scientific evidence that yes, there is sudden change in the climate. So the mandate, term of reference of the first working group, okay, mandate and term of reference of the first working group, IPCC. Okay, mandate and the term of reference of the first working group is what? To give adequate, sufficient, conclusive evidence, on the basis of which it can be established that climate is changing. Have you understood? And independently this working group, right? Independently this working group, IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So independently this working group will work on the scientific basis of climate change. I hope you have understood. Then working group 2, right? Then working group 2. Okay, so this working group 2, right? This working group 2 head of IPCC, I will be telling. So this working group 2. Okay. So this working group 2 will study on impact, impact okay, this will study on impact, then will study on adaptation, impact, adaptation, and vulnerability. Aspects of climate change. Are you getting it? So this working group 2, independently with more than 1,000 experts, will study. They will not study about the scientific basis of climate change, but they will study what impact is being generated, created because of climate change. How different species are adapting to those changes. Who are vulnerable? Which crop is vulnerable? Which part of world is more vulnerable? Which section of human population is more vulnerable to changing climate? Okay, so vulnerability aspect, impact aspect, adaptation aspect of climate change is studied by working group 2. Okay, and the working group 3 is study about mitigation aspect. Mitigation aspect. How we can mitigate the ill impacts. How we can save, those who are vulnerable to climate change. What can be done for better adaptation of changing climate? All these are studied by working group 3. Have you understood? Okay, and independently 1,000 of scientists will work, and then these scientists will publish the report. So working group 1 will publish the report, then working group 2 will publish the report, and then working group 3 will publish the report. And only when independently the 3 working group will publish the report, all the experts in the 3 working group will sit together, and then there will be intense discussion and some joint collaborative study, and then the final synthesis report is published. Have you got this? Yes or no? Tell me. All of you, have you got this? Yes or no? Immediately you tell me. So as far as 6th report is concerned, right? As far as 6th report is concerned, okay, so only when 3 working group will publish the report, then all scientists will sit together, and then final synthesis report is published. And this synthesis report, which is finally published after discussion many a times, is known as assessment reports, right? Assessment reports. All of you, have you understood? Now, if you have understood till now, right, till now, 5 reports, right, till now 5 reports have been published. Okay, till now 5 reports have been published. Okay, and right, and 6th report is going to be published in 2022, and this report is being published because since 2000, right, since 2015, October 2015, who is the chairman of IPCC? Hoi Sung Lee, Dr. Dr. Hoi Sung Lee. Okay, he is from Korea. He is a graduate in energy and environment from Seoul, Korea. Okay, Seoul, Korea. And I hope you are aware with the fact that when fourth report was published, at that time a well-known environmentalist from India, right, a well-known environmentalist from India, R.K. Pachauri was the chairman, and since 2002, right, to 2015, he was the chairman. So India holds a special distinction. So you can see on your own that when fourth and fifth report was published, an Indian was the chairman of IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. His name was Rajendra Kumar Pachauri, and he resigned in February 2015. I hope you know that there was multiple allegation of sexual harassment against R.K. Pachauri. Otherwise, he was a very well-known scientist on environmental matter, but very serious allegations were there against him, okay, of sexual harassment of women colleagues, okay, and because of that he had to finally resign in 2015. After that, this Dr. Hoi Sung Lee is the head or the chairman of IPCC, and under his chairmanship, most likely the IPCC is going to publish the sixth assessment report in 2022. But we hold a very special distinction that Indian was the chairman of this IPCC for so many years. Okay, anyway, as far as this assessment report is concerned, now why it is important from your exam point of view, this working group 1 during sixth assessment report publication by August 2021, next month, right, working group 1 will publish the report. Okay, then working group 2 is expected to publish their report by Feb 2022. The working group 3 will publish the report by March 2022, and independently the three groups are working for more than 5 years now. Okay, and then, right, synthesis report, is going to be published by September 2022. This is the update regarding sixth assessment report, which is to be published by IPCC by 2022, right, by 2022. And I would just like you to remember that whenever assessment reports have been published by IPCC, okay, when assessment reports have been published by IPCC, UPSC has asked a lot of questions. Okay, so you need to keep track of the key highlights of these three working group reports, but mainly when in September 2022 final report will be published, the possibility of the question will be very high. Okay, but you need to understand the process. And this sixth report, which is in the process of a study, after which compilation and publication will happen, already IPCC between fifth report and sixth report, three special reports have been published, and UPSC has already asked a question in prelims, three special reports in between, right, fifth report and sixth report. So which are these? So first report is on global warming of 1.5 degree Celsius. So we will be talking about these things in detail when I will talk about global warming and climate change. But I hope you are aware with the fact that world is making all out effort to keep the rise in global atmospheric temperature and surface temperature of the earth well below 1.5 degrees Celsius in comparison with pre-industrial revolution by end of 21st century. Many of you may not be able to understand this at this point of time. Okay, but I will explain you, don't worry. But one special report which was published is on global warming of 1.5 degree Celsius. Second special report which was published by IPCC between 5th and 6th assessment report is on ocean and cryosphere. On ocean and cryosphere in a changing climate. In a changing climate. Okay. How many of you understand cryosphere? Okay, so cryosphere is what? Frozen part of ocean. So I hope you are aware with the fact that some part of ocean near pole is frozen, permanently frozen, permafrost. Okay, so frozen part on earth is what is known as cryosphere. So what is the impact of changing climate on ocean and the frozen part of earth? That is what was studied through this second special report. And the third special report was climate change and land. Climate change and land. Are you getting it? So in what way climate change is impacting the land productivity, all such things were studied in this third report. Okay, so I just want you all to remember that by August 2021, under 6th assessment report, working group 1 is likely to publish the report. Working group 2 is likely to publish the report in Feb 2022. Working group 3 most likely will publish the report in March 2022, and then scientists of the 3 working group which have studied 3 different facets of climate change independently, separately, they will sit together, then will discuss, and end result of that intense discussion will lead to compilation followed by publication of synthesis report, which is most likely to be published in September 2022. But even before that, 3 special reports have already been published by IPCC. So I hope at least you got fully aware about IPCC and present chairman of IPCC. I have already told you that Dr. Hoesung Lee is the present chairman. Since 2015 he is the chairman, and during his chairmanship most likely the 6th report is going to be published. Okay, so this was the development in 1988, right? 1988, which led to the creation of IPCC. But now I am going to talk about the most important development, and that is in 1992. So 1992, what happened? United Nations. So I am giving you all updates as well. United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. Conference on Environment and Development. UNCED, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. This was in which year? 1992. Okay, this was in which year? 1992. to United Nations Conference. United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. Okay, 1992. Now, why this conference is so important, right? This conference was held. Where it was held? It was held in a very beautiful Brazilian city, Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro. Okay, and it was held from 3rd to 14th June 1992. 3rd to 14th June 1992. Okay, and this is the reason why it became famous in the name of Rio Summit. Why it was known as Rio Summit? Summit level talk. I hope you know that whenever the head of the state or the head of the government will participate in the talk, it is known as summit level talk. Okay, so one great thing about this summit was that different countries were represented by the head of the state or the head of the government, and that is why this became famous in the name of, right, this became famous in the name of Rio Summit, right? This became famous in the name of Rio Summit. Can you imagine? 109 countries participated in this, through the head of the state or head of the government. Head of government. So directly, can you imagine? American president, German chancellor, British prime minister, Indian prime minister, Chinese premier, Russian president, Australian prime minister, Canadian prime minister, French president, and so on and so forth. 109 countries, head of the state and the head of the government participated in the summit, and hours intense discussion on all environmental problem on planet Earth. Okay, and I would like you to remember that this United Nations Conference on Environment and Development is also known as Earth Summit. Earth Summit. Okay, so since it was held at Rio de Janeiro, it became popular in the name of Rio Summit. Okay, and since all environmental issues which were discussed, faced on planet Earth, so it also became popular in the name of Earth Summit. And 109 countries represented by the head of the state or the head of the government participated in this summit, and intense discussion, intense deliberations by experts in presence of the key person from the administration of the country. Okay, and then this summit, two great conclusions. Okay, so what were the conclusion? So one conclusion was, when they were talking about environment and development, right? When they were talking about environment and development, all the world leaders and the experts together reached to this conclusion that okay, what conclusion they reached? Peace, development, and environment. these three, right, these three are interdependent and indivisible. Okay, the three are interdependent and indivisible. Okay, so without peace there cannot be development and environment. Without protection for environment there cannot be development and there cannot be peace. And without development there cannot be protection to environment and there will not be peace in the region. So the three independent themes are very much dependent on each other and they cannot be separated. Are you getting it? इसीलिए आप सब IAS का तैयारी कर रहे हो. If there is no mental peace, it will be very difficult for you to concentrate on preparation and take your preparation forward to a logical completion. So mental peace is very important. जिस फैमिली में पीस नहीं है, भाई भाई लड़ता रहता है स्मॉल थिंग्स पे, no matter how much prosperous they are, soon the prosperity will dilute and dissolve. Okay. Similarly, if you don't have concern for environment, there cannot be peace and development. Similarly, if you don't have money, if you don't have ownership over resources, there cannot be peace and there cannot be protection to environment. क्या है, समझो इस चीज को. जिसका पेट नहीं भरा है, जो भूखा है, हंग्री है, बेसिक नीड्स नहीं मीट हो रहा है, उसको आप कैसे समझाओगे? How will you make that individual understand the importance of not cutting and felling down tree? Someone who is struggling to meet with very basic and fundamental needs of roti, kapra and makan. Are you getting it? You need to understand this. This is the reason why, right? This is the reason why, I keep on saying in the class that when you prepare for civil service exam, आपको unwarranted conflict zone में नहीं जाना है, unnecessary conflict zone में. Always you are disturbed because of your room partner, because of something within the family. आपको जो है, if your involvement is necessary in these issues, you involve, but you need to take yourself out of that situation and focus completely with mental peace on preparation. Many good students, right, are not able to qualify despite efforts which they are making because वो पूरा time complaining and crying baby है. जो complaining and crying baby है, वो क्या करता है? They will just complain कि मेरे पास ये नहीं है, मेरे साथ ये ठीक नहीं हो रहा है, फैमिली में ठीक नहीं है, इंस्टीट्यूट में ठीक नहीं है, फ्रेंड ठीक नहीं है, मौसम ठीक नहीं है, सर्कमस्टेंसेस ठीक नहीं है. ओके, एवरीबडी इज हैविंग सम और अदर प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, प्रॉब्लम किसकी लाइफ में नहीं है, हमें डील करना है और फोकस करना है अपने गोल को अचीव करने के लिए. ओके, सो great realization by world leaders that these three themes, environment, development and peace, these are interdependent and indivisible. So if we have to protect, preserve, conserve environment, then we will have to accelerate the pace of development and we will have to restore world peace, global peace. Okay, we have to restore global peace. We will have to restore, peace in the world. Are you getting it? So environment, peace and development, they are interdependent and indivisible. This was one realization. And second realization during Earth Summit, right? Second great realization during Earth Summit was, right, was that poverty is both cause and effect of environmental degradation. Poverty, both cause as well as effect of environmental degradation. Environmental degradation. Okay, so Indira Gandhi in 1972 itself said poverty and development are the two greatest polluters. So she was very much successful in telling the world that poverty is the poverty as cause of environmental degradation. But at Rio de Janeiro during Earth Summit, the world leaders realized that poverty is both cause as well as effect of environmental degradation. Okay, so how it is effect of environmental degradation? So whenever there will be, right, whenever there will be damage to environment, then the divide will widen between rich and poor. Okay, when there will be, right, when there will be damage to environment, divide will always widen between rich and poor. Let me tell you, because of environmental degradation, if the climate is changing, okay, let us assume climate is changing and there is erratic nature of rainfall followed by floods in new areas which were not prone to flood earlier. So anytime if the area is getting flooded, who is the first and the worst to be affected because of floods? So there will be adverse impact on everyone, but adverse impact will be more on poor people. Rich people क्या होगा? Flood induced inflation, ठीक है? Flood induced inflation, they will manage because they have purchasing power. But अगर अगर poor people है, they will suffer. We need to understand. Okay, we need to understand. Now let me just tell you, right? Let me just tell you, abhi inflation is so high. For the first time in independent India, we are, seeing what? That global crude oil prices, right? Global crude oil prices is low, but petrol and diesel prices is so high in India. In many cities, it has already crossed 100 mark. Gas cylinder price is so high, and we need to understand that whenever there will be, right, whenever there will be increase in petrol and diesel prices, automatically there will be rise in the price of other essential commodities because the transportation cost will go high. Sad part of the story, okay, that there are some who are justifying this, that in this pandemic kind of scenario, government needs money. Okay, yes, no doubt about it. Okay, no doubt about it. But should that means of earning money should be through the tax which they charge on petroleum and diesel? This is a big question, because directly it's adversely impacting the poor people. And opposition, which is so weak in Indian parliamentary democracy these days, they are not able to raise this issue. Okay, can you imagine the income of common people, middle class, lower middle class, poor people got adversely impacted, and this, in such scenario, if there is rise in the price level of general commodities, how it's impacting and adversely the life of common people and inducing pain and misery. Okay, pain and misery. So we need to understand